The busy urban landscape of Tokyo, Japan, host city for the ISU Grand Prix final of figure skating. Today, this sprawling metropolis says farewell to 2005 with a fanfare to the world's top contenders. Her moment of glory, March in Moscow, where Russia's Irina Slutskaya regained her world title on home ice with a courageous comeback from illness. Now the Russian idol reaches for the Olympic halo. Japan's Mao Asada is too young to go to the Olympics. Only 15, her youth belies her joyful poise. But this girl may be the best woman in the world. They own the podium. Navka and Kostomarov are two-time world and Grand Prix champions. They skate with a passion and precision that is the gold standard in ice dance. But the romantic connection of Canada's Dubray and Lausanne is for real, and so are their designs on a medal at the Grand Prix final. Yoyogi National Stadium in Tokyo, Japan. It was built for the 1964 Summer Olympics, but today it's the next stop along the road to the Olympic Winter Games in Turin in the sport of figure skating. Good afternoon, I'm Mark Lee along with Barb Underhill and Paul Martini, and welcome to the first of 2 days of coverage from the Grand Prix final. Today will feature the ice dance and women's competition. Now, the Grand Prix final is one of the biggest events on the calendar in this sport. We have all 4 reigning world champions in this competition, and this will really, Paul, be the first time, with some notable exceptions, that we'll see all of the main players and how they stack up going into that Olympic year.
It'll be the first time, and it will be the last time we get to see them prior to the games in Turin. The Grand Prix final has always been a marquee event on the skating calendar. It is the event where the top 6 skaters in the world over the course of the Grand Prix series come together to show their stuff, and this year it's really important that they show their stuff well prior to the Olympic Games.
That said, what kind of a predictor has the Grand Prix final been going into the Olympics as far as the women's competition is concerned?
It's not. Totally unpredictable. Irina Slutskaya, who is the main contender or the main gold medal favorite going into the Olympic Games at this point, she's coming in on a huge season so far. She's confident, she's skating better than ever. I think for her, she's thinking of this competition as, okay, the next step to get that gold medal at the Olympic Games. But the story here really is about a young 15-year-old who can't even go to the Olympics because she's too young. Young Mao Asada, who has taken the skating world by storm.
She might be the best skater in the world right now, and she won't be able to go to Turin. Let's talk about the ice dance competition. Canada's Dubray and Lausanne have qualified for the Grand Prix final here in Tokyo. They've never won a medal here. What are their chances this time?
Well, for Dubray and Lausanne, this is their 6th appearance at the Grand Prix final, which for any skater in and of itself is a huge accomplishment to get here 6 times. But for the first time, they're in a position to win a medal. And I think for them to win a medal at this competition would be a huge confidence boost going into the Olympic Games. So this is a really, really big event for them. But as you mentioned off the top, it's still the Russians. Navka, Kostomarov are the team to beat here.
And here are the 6 qualifiers for the Grand Prix final in ice dance. Navka, Kostomarov of Russia, Dubray and Lausanne, both unbeaten in their 2 Grand Prix events this season, joined by the world bronze medalists Grushina and Goncharov of the Ukraine. And there are the 6 contenders, each of these teams having taken part in 2 of the 6 Grand Prix events in the series this season. And we begin the original dance competition with Elena Grushina and Ruslan Goncharov of Ukraine. The husband and wife team won their first ever World Championship medal in March in Moscow, a bronze. And this year on the Grand Prix Series, they were second at Skate Canada, first at Trophy Eric Bompard. It was at Skate Canada they lost to the Canadians Dubray and Lausanne after a major fall in the free dance portion of that competition.
And this year's original dance rhythm is the Latin combination. So we'll see some cha-cha, some rumba, some samba, a little mambo, merengue, and some salsa.
And it's important to remember that here at the Grand Prix final, the dancers begin with the original dance, whereas at the Olympic Games, they will do one compulsory dance.
Students have 2.5 minutes to complete 5 required elements. They must do 2 different types of lifts, 1 dance spin, and 2 different step sequences. In this midline step, they have to be careful that they are always within 2 arms length of each other.
But the unison was fairly respectable through that, but it really didn't carry a lot of speed. This step sequence must be completed for the most part in a closed dance position.
Well, that's the performance to beat so far here in Tokyo, Japan. Elena Grushina and Ruslan Goncharov and their coach Nikolai Morozov in the original dance.
Strong performance. I thought it had really good energy. This was one of their 2 different lifts that they completed. As you mentioned, Paul, I found the step sequences to be a little bit slow. They didn't carry a lot of speed.
The technical score is 28.
And now the scores for the Ukrainian husband and wife team. For technical scores, 28.90. And for components,
and the total segment score
29.94. Will give them a score of 58.84, which is well below their personal best, but that is the score to beat here in the original dance competition. Still to come from the Grand Prix final, Canada's charming couple Dubray and Lausanne when we return to Tokyo, Japan. The grounds of the Imperial Palace in downtown Tokyo on a beautiful December day here in Japan as our coverage of the Grand Prix final of figure skating continues from Yoyogi National Stadium. And now the Canadians, Marie-France Dubray and Patrice Lausanne from Montreal, training the last 3 years out of Lyon, France. They've had a terrific Grand Prix circuit, first at Skate Canada, first at NHK, and beating the 3rd and 5th place teams in the world along the way.
Their first element is the midline step, and this is the most important element because it has the highest base value.
And Patrice had some difficulty on the twizzle.
After they finished 7th at the World Championships in March in Moscow, they talked about this being their last year. This season has been going so well, they've now put that decision on hold.
And part of that has to do with the fact that they went to David Wilson this year for their choreography, and he's just been able to bring out the chemistry, the heart and soul of this team, and it's really brought their skating to a whole new level.
Hairspin is traveling a little bit. You like this particular element to stay completely stationary on the ice. A lot of work in this step sequence on one foot.
Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon in a romantic original dance in Tokyo.
It was a good skate, good energy, good chemistry. I think, unfortunately, though, they're going to take a hit on that opening footwork sequence.
Yeah, you have to remember that when you're in an event such as this, when you're up against the very best in the world, it's just the slightest little mistake that can make the difference between a place or possibly two.
Their lift's always very strong, very innovative.
Their goal here at the Grand Prix final is to be on the podium, and let's see how they score in this original dance and how they stack up against Grushina and Goncharov of Ukraine, the bronze medalists from the World Championships, and the team they're chasing. So here are the numbers. 26.60 for technical, 28.82 for program components, and a total of 55.42 points. So about 3 points behind the Ukrainian team in second place. Canadians assessing their numbers. Still to come in the original dance competition, the world champions from Russia, Roman Kostomarov and his partner Tatiana Navka, snugging up her laces for the original dance. A nice day for a stroll in the Olympic Park created for the 1964 Summer Games as we come back to Yoyogi National Stadium in Tokyo. The Canadians, Dubreuil and Lauzon, in second, but feeling they could have done a little better.
Well, we had a little rough time today, especially at the beginning after we could keep dancing and the rest of the elements went well, but it was not our best performance today.
So room for improvement for the Canadians as the two-time world champions take to the ice. From Russia, this is Tatiana Navka and Roman Kostomarov. Unbeaten this year in the Grand Prix Series, first at Cup of China, first again at Cup of Russia. They have been unbeaten in more than a year.
We'll also start with the midline step down the ice. This is really the make or break element for most teams. You can see already this team is carrying more flow and more speed through the midline than Marie-France and Patrice.
And superior depth of edge. You see how much they use their knee action to create some nice deep edges throughout the course of this sequence.
good unison on the twizzles there as well.
They're a pleasure to watch, and they have recorded the highest scores ever under this new scoring system in ice dance. No question, they're in a league of their own. The two-time world champions, Navka and Kostomarov, with their original dance here in Tokyo.
And it was the type of performance that simply reinforces how very good this couple is. No hesitation, no steps out of unison, just very, very tight from beginning to end.
This twizzle section here completed very fast rotation. Hard to keep in unison on those steps, but they did it well. Here's a look at their combination spin. Very confident performance, and you know that this is just going to give them even more momentum heading into the Olympics.
Here's their coach, Alexander Zulin, who is Tatiana's husband. The score for technical elements, 30.80.
And the score for their midline step was 9.6, which is 3 full points ahead of Mary, France, and Patrice.
And look at those component marks, 32.21 for a total score in the original dance for the Russians of 63.01. Far and away the leaders here after the original dance competition, Grushina and Goncharov behind them in second place, and the Canadians, Dubray and Lausanne, currently third and well positioned for that podium come the free dance. So the world champions have the lead, but hampered, they say, by jet lag and the long trip here to Japan.
We skate very well. Little bit feel confusing because maybe it's Japan, you know, and timing different. Maybe lights was a little bit dark. So, but we skate very good. So, and we're happy with our levels.
It's a little bit was difficult because like this competition we started from OD, original dance. Usually we started from compulsory, and of course it's more nervous, you know, when you just started first day. But glad we did very good.
There's Miki Ando, one of Japan's Olympic hopefuls. The women warming up for the short program, and we'll have that when we come back to Tokyo and the Grand Prix final.